So welcome back. This is lesson 4. In lesson 3, we looked at how we could take our character into our next level. Then what we did was we took a score and we put a score in, and then we created a reward so we could add to that score. In this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate the rewards. So we've got several rewards in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a timer. Let's stop our game and then play it from the beginning just to get things set up. And there we have our apple here. So I'm going to, first of all, change the name of the apple. So apple, and this is apple 1, level 1. It's a very easy process to duplicate rewards. The one thing we need to do first, we have to make sure that when it goes to level 2, that the apples disappear. So before we duplicate anything, we have to make sure that happens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to events, and then I'm going to add, when the backdrop hits to level 2, we must make sure that we hide the apple. So now we've got our apple set up. We can go to our apple, we can right click and we can say duplicate, and then here's our apple. So let's click on the eye and give this a change. So we're going to say this is apple 2 and we are still on level 1 here. Okay. Incidentally, what we're going to actually do is we're going to change these names around, because what I'm going to say is level 1 and then apple 1. I'm going to have it that way round, because then when we duplicate it automatically increments the number. So let's do the same for this one. And we're going to say level 1, apple 2. Okay, so that set us up. And there is our duplicate apple. So let's put this somewhere. So I'm going to put it here. Then with our duplicate apple, we have to make sure that we set our location correctly. And if we go to motion here, we can see go to 216 and 20. So we can change these to 216 and 20. All right, so that is for our second apple. We need to do the same. So let's duplicate again. There's our third apple. So let's put our third apple here. And again, we need to make sure that this is 184 to minus 51. So 184 to minus 51. And now that's going to appear there. So let's duplicate once more and just do that once more so I can show you. Let's put another one here. Okay, this is minus 156. So minus 156 for the y-axis. And then you can do this multiple times. So I'm just going to do this quickly. Okay, so I've got 8 apples here. When I play this now, we'll play the game. So press the space bar. There are our apples. As we get our apple, we can up our score. So let's go and get this one, and so on and so forth. Okay, so there is our apples and our rewards. So very simple in order to duplicate what you're doing. So let's stop that now. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a timer. So we have a set amount of time in order to get to the end of the maze. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to add some data. We're going to make another variable, and we're going to call this the level 1 timer. And we need to make it available for all sprites. So let's click OK. So now we have our level 1 timer. So it's appeared up here, so that we can drag that down. Now we don't want this name to appear. So if we double click, there we can put our timer in as just a digit. We don't need the name. If you double click again, you get this slider. And if you double click again and again, it brings it back. So 3 times you can go through that. So now we need to think about what we need to do. When the game starts, we want the timer to start at a certain value. So, but it only needs to start at level 1. So let's go to our backdrops and let's think about what's going on here. When the spacebar key is pressed, we switch into level 1. So we need to show our variable. So let's show our level 1 timer. But we also need to hide it when the game starts. So let's hide the variable when the green flag is pressed. So show the variable level 1 timer. Okay, so now what we need to do is go to our level 1 cat. So let's click on our level 1 cat. So in our level 1 cat, what we want to do is we want to make sure we set our values for our timer. So We need to add another event here. So we're going to say, now we could add it under this, but just to simplify things, we're going to add another one of these when the backdrop switches to level 1. We want to set the timer. So let's go to data. We want to set the timer to a value. Okay, so let's say 30 seconds for now. Okay, now what we want is a control and a forever loop. Okay, because we want to keep checking what the timer's doing. So we want the timer to go down from 30 to 0. So we want it to wait 1 second. Once that 1 second's up, we want to change that timer to a different value. So let's go to data and then change level 1 timer by -1. So let's play this now and see what happens. There we go. Our timer is going down. Now what you'll find is when it gets to 0, it will keep going down. So let's just watch that now. There you go. It's going to the minus number. So what we want to do is when it gets to 0, we want to go to the time's up screen. Okay, so let's stop this and think about how we can do this. As it's forever, so forever it's changing, but if it goes to 0, we want it to go to the time's out screen. So let's go to control and let's put a if statement in here. So let's say if something happens, so the something is if the timer is going to 0. Now we need to go to operators. So we need to say if something is equal to 0, then do something. So if the timer, so if something is equal to 0, so we're going to put 0 in here. In here, we need to add our variable. So let's go to our data, and if the timer, and we can add that in here, if timer 1 is equal to 0, then what do we want to do? Well, we want to go to the time's up screen. So let's go to looks, and then we need to switch the backdrop to our time's up screen. Okay, so when the timer is 0, then go to the time's up screen. But let's have a little wait in there. Let's go to control and put a second's wait in there. And then once that's in, we want to set our value of our timer to 0. So let's set that to 0. Okay, so let's see what happens now. So here's our maze, and our timer is going down. Let's just wait for our timer to finish. Okay, so it's reaching 0. And there we go to our time's up screen. But as you can see, we have a problem there. All our characters and everything is showing in our time's up screen. So what we need to do is go to our time's up screen and make sure that everything is not there when the time's up screen appears. So in lesson 5, what we're going to look at is how to actually make sure that none of those characters and none of these apples actually appear in our time's up screen. Good luck, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Please click the like button and please subscribe to this channel for more educational technology videos. Until next time, goodbye.